How are you guys? uh, my neighbors walked through, and I didn't want to ruin my intro after I decided to open the windows late. Whew. It's the weekend. I hope things are going well. Oh, let's do this. Two things are in the news today that caught my attention. One is another police shooting. We're not going to spend a lot of time on that, but that one sounds screwy as well. Huh. That will be. You want to cover it now? Do it real quick and dirty. I've got Cat Stevens in my head. Okay, where's this story? The Wall Street Journal has an opinion piece. Responsibility for the Afghanistan debacle. And there's a picture of Petraeus, also not on our agenda, but Wall Street Journal. That was horrible spelling. Hold on. Af- Afghanistan. All right. Oh, that's not better. Ugh. You know, the forever war has ended. It is really weird. I guess it's not weird. I'm not going to read it to you. I just wanted to find the image because I think the image is hysterical. All right. Well, let's swap this back. Um, I'm going to have to write the exact quotage. It is all right. Ooh, hold on. So let me get rid of me. This image, I could not stop laughing at all day. This is it. This isn't the whole image. It's not the whole image. All right. But like his picture is prominently displayed using the word debacle. It looks like people are running for cover on this thing. There's a lot of people who what's the word I'm looking for? There are a lot of people who are are responsible. What's that old phrase? Uh, heroes, something like heroes have a million. Good ideas have a million fathers, but failures are orphans or some shit like that. I forgot the phrasing of it, but it implies everybody wants to take credit when the shit is great, but when it's something like this, all of a sudden nobody knows anything about it. Biden must take responsibility for the Afghanistan debacle. This is the Wall Street Journal. Yeah, this is debacle. Well, all right. Like I said yesterday, when I was talking about they're interviewing soldiers who served over there, and my whole point is why. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm sure you have an opinion, but I have an opinion. Librarians have an opinion. The people you need to talk to are the people who do like logistical work. How long it takes to get people in there, how long it takes to care, how long, what do you need to keep people there, food, drugs, like we said, socks, hats, the whole bit. Um, eh, it's that, and then when you leave, how long does it take to get them out? What do you need to get them out? How do you? They're not military. How do you secure them? So then you speak to that retired general, and he goes, "If I had to get, I don't know, let's say there are 20,000 soldiers, and they said less than 5,000, 5,000 soldiers in Afghanistan, and I got to get them all out." That general would know how and when and where to move people, right? This whole thing just is, yeah, this is someone's fault. I don't know whose fault. I find it hard to believe, and I could be wrong. I was wrong about fucking attacking them on the ground. If you want them to leave, why would you attack them? I famously said that here this week, the day before they did that stupid thing, day before yesterday, was it? I think I said it Monday. I think I no, I said it. I said it. When did they blow it up? Yesterday. I said it Wednesday. They blew it up the next day. So yeah. And now we're talking about revenge with no people there. They're in bed with the Russians. I don't think you can do flyovers anymore without getting into it with the Russians. But China's over here going, hey, ooh, yeah, ooh, that's China will get into bed with the devil themselves. The Chinese, more so than the Russians, the Communist Party has zero respect for life, right? I look at the Russians as mobsters. Don't say nothing about our killings. We won't say nothing about your killings. Let's make this money, right? But I look at the Chinese as just really a sinister philosophy, and they were dying until they made everybody use not democracy, use capitalism to save their socialism. They're so full of shit. They say one thing, but they're absolutely trying to do it like the West does it. But here's your problem. Here in the West, we're going to get into China just for a second. Here in the West, I can write on a big sheet of paper, fuck the president, he's an idiot. And not only that, march around on any street in the country with it. Every now and then, I'm going to get some asshat who probably has just as much I love the president kind of energy, right? And then the cops will come and go, you knock that off, he's got a right, you get out of here. There, you will fucking disappear. That's the thing. Into like some Chinese socialist prison, right? So a lot of that thinking of, I could write that, but I'm not. I'm just going to write a story, or I'm just going to draw a painting, or I'm just going to write an essay, right? You can bleed it into other things. You can't bleed any of that into shit. All this other stuff, the anger of this, wow, that's ridiculous. I'm just going to build a better one, and then build a better, not wheel, but build a better television set or card break or whatever. It implies the freedom to think laterally if you want to, because everyone else is thinking uh, regularly, let's say, right? People who think laterally make interesting music, interesting art. They write interesting books, works, and essays. Sometimes they get into trouble, right? Here in the West, Sinead O'Connor came to America, ripped up a picture of the Pope. She's from Ireland. She took her Irish Catholic politics and dumped them here in the American lap, right? I didn't care. You know who cared? Catholics who are aligned with the Pope, right? So now you get this kind of stupid activity. She wouldn't have been able to do that if she was from China, happened to be here singing something and said, you know, America, even if she said it pro China, I'm pretty sure it would have embarrassed her family, her line, her country, and it'd be her ass when she got back. She would immediately do that and then have to ask for what do when you don't want to go back to your country? Ask for the girl just did at the Olympics. I don't want to go back. I want not diplomatic immunity. I want, God dang it. Now I'm gonna have to look this up. Thank you. Hey man, asylum, right? So you want asylum. So all this stuff that you can do in the West, you can't do in China. So China wants to sell, and everything they sell you is a warped version of what we make, right? So now they're making action hero movies with this Chinese trying to essentially they bribed They bribe their way into society. So they bribe their way with the greed of Hollywood, right? Now you got John Cena giving apologies in Mandarin. He should never work again in this country. Let him go work in China. But that's it. You see this openly arrogant, stupid stuff, and then people who go along with it, and no one goes, they're evil, and you're a traitor for being in bed with them. Right? They can't come up with this shit themselves. They have to go and get it somewhere else. And every now and then you hear how they, they get an artist. I forget the guy. I think he just died. Not Chuck Close. He's an American artist, but he was from Beijing, and they threw him in jail for his arts and his sculptures. Not Beijing. Beijing is Beijing. Was it Beijing? How do I spell Beijing? BEIJI. Oh, good Lord! All right, I think that's it. Beijing artist. Arrested. All right. Let's get an image of him because I forget his name. Yeah, Al Weiwei, Mr. Weiwei. So here he is, right? He makes art. They throw his ass in jail. Oh, there you go. He's got not a Brooklyn sensibility. He's got a. I became the enemy of the establishment. He just died, didn't he? Hold on. Yeah, everybody who's famous of any kind has to be part of their system. No, he's not dead. Good job. Early life, response to AI's arrest, they release him. Then they hit him with a tax case, right? Because the whole point is to get you off the table. They will throw it's openly a corrupt society. Yeah, Al Weiwei. But you're not going to have that. My man Biz, good to see you. You're not going to have that in China because, like I said, it's lateral thinking. I might write a book about a children's book about a panda and then get in trouble with the guy who's got a panda issue. He's banned Winnie the Pooh from all their social media, right? Or I might write a children's book about an eagle and then they'll arrest me for saying I'm pro-American. So everybody's very kind of like, oh, I'm just going to go to work and keep my mouth shut and go to school. But meanwhile, they want to talk to you like we have this free society and people can do whatever they want. And that's just completely ridiculous. And since that kills societies, they're trying to make money in the West, trying to buy Western corporations, Western this, and these greedy people in Washington fucking allow it. Like that woman who's in Canada who they were trying to spy on Americans through stuff that they buy, right? Like they wanted to buy a chip manufacturer in Simi Valley, not Simi Valley, in Silicon Valley. And they were like, yeah, we're happily sell you to the China. You're giving us 3 times what we want for it. And the American government was like, slow down, you fucksticks. What are you doing? You're not giving them technology to outplay. What is wrong? And this is it. When I was a kid, I hate to go into this. When I was a boy, we had to stand up and say the Pledge of Allegiance, right? And then I remember someone in the 90s, some guy sued because he didn't want his daughter indoctrinated into American. What? And now no one says the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay. Why would you not have a Pledge of Allegiance to the place that you live? Right? You take oaths to get into the army or the fire department, or you know what I mean? When you have passed the bar, they swear you in. Right? Doctors have an oath, the Hippocratic oath. I think they take when they graduate, or right. So some of this is just. Some of this doesn't make any sense, and I think the more people in America who don't really give a fuck about anything but money, the more you break the system, and the more you allow foreigners to buy in to America while people are fucking bleeding for it, and then they get to tell you how, well, I don't have to like religion or God or blacks or Indians or Hindus. I'm rich and I'm over here. How'd you make that money, American? Oh, I just came over and brought it with me from some other place where I was allowed to sell drugs. Do you know that there are, well, I was told this by a DEA guy, but I don't know if this is still true anymore. I don't even know if it's true now. He said that there was cartel bosses who lived around the border and in Atlanta because Mexico was not safe. So their kids lived here, right? Grow up here, get married here, then their grandkids are American citizens. And I was like, that can't be true. That can't be true. He was like, yep. I was like, somebody would do something about that. He was like, I was like, maybe you're right. So, and don't get me wrong, going back to the American Revolution, right? A lot of Hessians who were conscripted didn't want to be in anybody's war. Some of them fought us and then stayed here, right? People hopped the border to the level of stay here, right? Some people, it's hard to get here from Europe, so those people had to come by boats and planes that come through Ellis Island. But Canadians walk over the border and fucking stay here. It's been a thing. Look, you're a landmass, right? In Europe, do you think everybody in Russia, their whole family for all the time in memoriam before history stayed in Russia? You don't think they just, somebody may have gotten into trouble, rode past 3 towns and then found out, into the woods, got halfway through the, not halfway, but fully through the woods and found out there are other towns on the side of it, right? And his name was, I don't know, Bob. And he rides into town. He's got a new history. There's no internet. There's no mail, right? And he's like, yeah, my name is Jim now. Maybe I'll calm the fuck down and be easy. And then he lives there, marries there, have kids there. Jim. No one knows that he was, robbed the place or wanted for murder, or maybe he was just a decent guy who was gay that they tried to kill and he escaped, right? Then he decided to be less gay. Of course, Leon Panetta says that. Leon Panetta would be happy to send your kids off to yet another fucking war. Oh, look, listen. This is how you get war societies. After the last war, the military goes, fuck you guys, and then they take over. And then the only people who can get any purchase in that society is military people. It's going on right now in Myanmar, quite frankly. And I tell people this all the time, do not think that America cannot have yet another internal conflict. America is built on internal conflict. You know what I'm saying? We started out fighting with the Indians for the British, and then we started fighting with the British, and then we started killing off the Indians, still enslaving the blacks, right? There was no coordinated ever Indian assault because there was 120 million of them when the Pilgrims got here, and 200 years later, when did the Pilgrims get here? 16, I want to say 1614, but something tells me that's the founding of New York. The Pilgrims got here in the 1500s. When did the Pilgrims arrive? James, 1620. Huh. All right, so wait a minute. When did New York City get founded? 16, I want to say 1614 or 1646. I should know this. When did NYC get founded? 1625. 5 years later, Mayflower arrived in New England on November 11, 1620, at the voyage of 66 days. Okay. For decades, the proud seal of New York City is depicted of sailors and a Manhattan Indian and a beaver and flour barrels and sails of a windmill has celebrated 1625 as the year the city was founded. Wow, 5 years later? That's like finally being able to get your shit together because you found out that there's a planet in the Andromeda galaxy or some shit. But this has to be, in order for this to be right, you would have to have an age of, I want to say enlightenment, but that's used, an age of spaceship travel, right? So, oh man, it took us a month to get to the moon. Now it takes us 2 hours. Oh, hey, it used to take us 6 months to get to Mars. Now it takes us 2 weeks. Oh, hey, now we've improved that. We can get to the end of the rim of the solar system, which is Pluto, right? And stick a flag there or whatever. And it would have taken, now that takes us a month. Oh, wait, hold it. We cut that down to fucking 2 weeks, 3 days, whatever. I don't know what to tell you. By the time you can able to, because no one wants to look. Listen, I love science fiction, but nobody's going to be frozen for 200 years to get to a place. That's ridiculous. Unless you can get people there. I want to say in like a 3 to 5 years. I don't even want to say. Well, 5 years. People sit in jail for 5 years, but they have to be there. Um, Military might be able to stay in a place because they have to be there. So I would say if you would send a military group, how long do you stay in Iraq and Afghanistan? A year and a half. Some people sign up for 2 tours. So you tell them this is going to be, we're going to pay you. This is going to be like a 3 tour trip, right? So because you're not going to be able to come home. So it's a tour to get there, a tour to stay there, and a tour to get back. How long is the tour? 9 months, right? So if you can get there that fast, then in 5 years, um, it makes sense that you would be sending people there because I can see a whole bunch of people who will go. I've got no family, no friends here. I'm an adventurous soul. Um, I want to strike out and have a continent named after me. Oh, look, there's a starship going to, whatever, the dog galaxy or whatever. Uh yeah, but the idea you're gonna freeze people and they're gonna take 20 years to get there is fucking bullshit. No one's doing that. Do you remember when they wanted to send people to die on Mars? They asked for volunteers. They got all these people, and then they finally canceled it because people were like, "Dude, what are you thinking? Dying on Mars? Your ass should go. If you can't send somebody and bring them back, shame on you. Shame on you for even suggesting a sick. I mean, you want this cave explored? Just go in there. If you make it through the other side, great. If you don't, that's fine too. Who sends people to that? But arrogant, like kings or like emperors. You know what I mean? Like you see that in movies, and then the bad guy always somehow beats it, comes back, and like does the guy in because those are movies. But no, you don't send people to die on foreign planets and you can't get them back, especially places with no atmosphere. Oh, we're not even going to look at this anymore. In 1620 and 1625, really 5 years. I did not. That is amazing. The Plymouth Colony, 400 years on the So, and mind you, the Pilgrims came here because they couldn't worship freely, and they wanted. I don't know what they wanted to do, but apparently the establishment at the time was like, get the fuck out of here. So then what you would have is, let's say I'm the pilgrim. I think that you should be able to, everyone should play guitar and harmonica and drink whiskey every day and stick one finger in their ear and one finger in their nose, twitch them both and go ha hoo ha to our new god, the freaking toothpicks. Everybody goes, that dude's ridiculous. Not even going to worry about him being a consequential individual in our day and age. And then you look over one day and I've got like 20 million followers talking about and you'd be like, no, this is ridiculous. And then of course you cracked out on them because there was no live and let live back then. And then I go, okay, everybody, we managed to get some money together. We've got this ship. We're going to go to Andromeda and we're going to live there, which is essentially what happened, right? The pilgrim like, you can't live and worship here. Mind you, this is the 1600s. This is not like the 1200s when they were, the 1200s was Christian, but it wasn't like 2,000 years before that when they were killing Christians to the lions, right? So these Christians were even weird to other Christians. So then they got on their pilgrim boat and they were just out. They were just kind of like, peace. We got faith in God, and then they kicked themselves into the giant wide ocean, which is a ballsy thing for that time. I mean, people thought of sea monsters. People didn't know a gale force wind would wipe you clean. Well, they knew that, but they didn't know how to predict them, and it took them 2 months to get here. And then the Indians was like, "Look at these poor people. We should help them out. What can it hurt?" You can write an alternate history of what happens if the Mayflower people showed up here and the Indians either consumed them completely, meaning, no, you're not pilgrims, you're part of the Wampanoag tribe. This is how you wear your headdress and this is how you hunt elk and deer. You would have light-skinned Indians 500 years later mixed with, right? But in England, in where they came from, they would just say that they were lost at sea. Darkest timeline? I think we're living in the darkest timeline. In another timeline, those people were like, hey, this is a better way to do X, Y, and Z. And then they helped like build up America into this whole thing. And then by the time other people found it, it was already a country doing its own shit. But instead, you told people, look, you know what? It's like, I hate to say it, but it's like there's a zombie apocalypse. And I managed to have not a giant school, but a small hut someplace, nicely camouflage. And I lived there with 10 other Indians. And I take 2 people in who I find in the woods. And I help them out. I set one's broken leg. I stitch one up. They haven't eaten in weeks. So I give them food. And then I wake up one morning and they're both gone. And I'm like, it's from fine. Within the next few weeks, there's like 500 people where I once lived. Not 500, but let's say 20, right? And it's me and 5 people. Now it's like them and 20 other people who eat and destroy things. And it's like, wow, why did I help these people? And then people tell you don't help people. And I think they tell you don't help people because we're Americans, because of the Indians and the Pilgrims didn't really do a lot of harm to the Indians, but the Pilgrims were like the Pilgrims were like scout ants, and then people were like, hey, gold over there, and there you have it. We believe in God. You're all not infidels. What did they call them? Savages. You're all savages, and we can do whatever we want to, which never made any sense to me. If you are a representative of God, the idea that you can do anything to anybody doesn't seem like a representative of God. It seems like more like a representative of evil, right? So yeah, how do we start this conversation? Going to Andromeda on a spaceship. I love a good science fiction tale, but they're all miserable. They're all horrible murder stories, always couched in a different genre, right? I'm just kind of like, every now and then you get a good silly movie that you like to watch, like How to Train Your Dragon was an interesting take on boy meets girl in science fiction, right? By the time you got to 2 and 3, there's always a war amongst other people where a whole bunch of people, excuse me, have to die. I'm like, oh man, can't I just get a look? I tell people this all the time when I used to write scripts. 3 stories, right? So you got man against man. I am going to kick your ass for hurting my wife or stealing my horses or kicking over my spaceship or a vendetta against you in the war, right? It's man against man, man against environment, nature, environment. I am trapped out here in this snowdrift or sitting here adrift in the great wide ocean or trapped in the wilderness and a bear is chasing me, right? Man against environment and man against nature. And the other is man against man against environment, and man against, I want to say himself, right? Where I have to run this marathon. I think that's it. I have to run this marathon, but I really like potato chips and drinking late at night, but I got to run. And it sort of becomes, actually, I think it is. It's Simon Pegg has a movie about him trying to run a marathon and to impress his girlfriend. And it was marketed as a love story, but it's not really a love story. It's him defeating his own demons and then her saying, oh, he's different now, right? So I think it is man against man. No, man against himself. Man against another person, man against himself. And then it's man against the environment. But yeah, so Star Wars is a man against man story, right? Us against them. It's man against man. It's not them against the environment. There are environmental segments like the ice planet Hoth, but it's man against. It's a war. Man against man is a war story. And I tell you, man against man is also a love story. Men and women, right? I'm trying to get you. That's man against man. But yeah, I always find the best stories, in my opinion, to be man against environment. But not the sappy, corny environment where like get trapped in the wilderness or some shit. I want interesting environments. build a, well, I don't know, maybe they are war stories, but people who kind of figure out how to rework something and build something out of their tattered, what's that Tom Cruise movie where he's trapped in an island, right? That's a man against environment story. You want him to get back to civilization and make a, but it's not really about that. It's about him being trapped and how he survives and being away for a long time. Uh, by the way, Castaway, those Castaway stories, if you look them up when people used to get Castaway, are fucking amazing. Um, there's a story I read like that was the impetus for not Swiss Family Robinson. That's a Disney movie. Uh, Robinson Crusoe. And it's based on a true story. Before based on true stories began to be a thing. Huh. This guy. First of all, there were these little like islands, and the pirates would release pigs on these islands because they knew the pigs would breed, and then they would come back, stash their booty there, and there'd be food there because there'd be a ton of pigs. They would just have to hunt them. And should I even look this up? God, I gotta tell you, my favorite time period, we should all have one, is this period, like the 1000s to about the 1700s. I begin to lose interest when Washington died in 1799. But that whole 700-year period, I always thought was just kind of like amazing, right? So the year 1000 quite essentially begins with the founding of Britain. Before the year 1000, Britain was essentially like there were tribes, there were small tribes, right? They got bigger and bigger and bigger. It was very much like the Nordic system. Uh, if you watch Netflix, there's a ton of great and you go, oh, this looks just like England, but why wouldn't it? Because they were like sort of like very close to each other within I want to say 700 circular miles of each other. So why wouldn't like you had similar weather and all this stuff? So why wouldn't you? Um, but a lot happened in that 700-year period from like year 1000 to like 17, I guess it's 800 years when it, yeah, Washington died in 17, George Washington. Yeah, 1799, December. Yeah. So what happened in the 1800s? That's, I mean, then you get tech, right? You get more revolutions, you get like Indian slaughter, you get the train, which was huge technology, giant accomplishment, building that shit across and then coordinating it where they had to meet about in the same place. It's very much like that underground like train system that they built between France and England, which is amazing because France and England had been at war forever. And now look at them. So, maybe in another 50 years, 100 years, I'm almost guaranteeing that Israel is going to look different. I really do think so. Yeah, I don't regret saying that. I think so. I think if you look at the Middle East now, people have lived through, I want to say, 60 years of televised violence, and television is how you sort of galvanize everybody because then they know, oh man, we lived here with violence all the time, and I don't like it, and my sisters don't like it, and my family don't like it, and my friends don't like it. But yeah, it is what it is, right? And then you cut it on and you see it on TV, and you realize not only don't the 20 or 30 people you don't like it, there are people 500 miles away who think it's bullshit. So then all of a sudden you can galvanize like not just political opinion about it, but honest, hardcore, just kind of I believe my eyes kind of opinions about it. Um, I think every year there's less. Let me roll this down. Every year uh there's fewer Israelis who kind of like want to push this thing because they don't know where it's going, right? Well, I don't want to say why. I think a lot of them think that it's untenable. Uh and every year, I think a lot of these young Palestinian boys who watch TV and are in the fucked up position go see all this ISIS. I don't think they're happy to be part of that. I think they're just kind of like, what? I don't have anything, and I don't want to blow it. There's got to be. So eventually, something's going to have to crack. Or I could be wrong, and they could all be watching this going, ooh, we should all be terrorists now, right? And maybe the Israelis are looking at this and going, ooh, now's our time to wipe them all out. I mean, one genocide, it's just one genocide, right? America has two. I mean, Germans have one, right? I mean, the society is for, I mean, look, I said this before. We run on the, I hate to say it, but we run on the English way to run a nation, right? Because we're cast off of England. And the England still has issues with the Irish, right? They had issues with the Scottish for hundreds of years, right? And then when you set up their system is we, the highborn muckety mucks, and you can get there through military service or so it's a stratified system in the first place, and then we inspired them, yes we did, to be less like that, because now you're just an American, right? Which means we have no class structure, work hard to get it, and then we did all the racist bullshit and sexist bullshit, nonsensical nonsense, right? But they don't see that. They see, those Americans over there, they can rise up no matter what their station is, and I'm just stuck here being a blacksmith. Maybe our system isn't so great. And then what happens? France had a revolution. England had a revolution. England had a revolution before we did, but England had like a reworking of their whole system. And now England is essentially, they did what the Chinese did. Like the Chinese are a socialist party, but they run on capitalism. The English is a kingdom, a monarchy kingdom, but they have a lot of not English. They have a lot of democratic things in their system. And as I read it, it's a democracy until the Queen pulls the plug, right? And I always say, then why can't the fucking guy in North Korea do the same thing? I'm the sovereign leader, but you guys can have TV sets and blah, 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 until I fucking bring the hammer down, right? So you can't go to Parliament and be like, this queen shit is done. We should have a referendum. Do we even want a queen? Because she can go, yeah, that referendum is never going to see the light of day. So it's because that's right. So it doesn't ever get to be anything. It's like a candle. Ooh, look, I'm going to light this candle. And she blows it right at you like, oh, I guess I'm not lighting any fucking candles. And now you've made an enemy of the head of government. This is why the prince over there will not be sent to jail for piddling. I believe he piddled little kids or teenagers or tweens or whatever the sick fucking thing it was, right? Why? Because he's from the uterus of the sovereign. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? So all this American stuff of like, well, we're investigating it and we want to just stop it. The only thing it does is alienate an ally. And here's the thing about Britain being an ally. There's only like 60 million of them, and there's 350 million of us. So if they were as equal in number as us, I think someone at the top level would have been like, fucking knock it off. But since they're not, I think by the time it gets to be a point where someone goes, okay, you need to knock this off, it'll be, what's the word? How can I phrase it? It'll be, look, it's not like a lot of nations on this planet can do anything to this country. That's just the truth. We have the third largest population on the planet. As a country, Africa has a larger population. Africa has 1 billion people, but they're not a cohesive group. And we have technology that people envy. And the only reason Russia and China has drones is because they saw us do it and they told their people to try and learn one. And then we lost one over Iraq that the Russians picked up, right? And why did we have this shit? Because we, as Americans, are allowed to sit in the grass with a freaking, do I have anything? Yeah, let's get that. With a toothpick in our mouth, looking up at the clouds going, Now, those people you walk by and go, that is a lazy dude lying in the street. What is he thinking? Look at those lazy women sitting. But for all you know, you'll sit here thinking like frequency hopping, like, well, she wasn't American. Hedy Lamarr, she wasn't American. But those ladies who helped NASA get to the moon, right? Just because you can sit there and go, work out something in your head. And the only people who could do that before Americans, quite frankly, were nobles in England, right? That's, I mean, isn't Newton famous for sitting under a tree? Wonk, ow, gravity, done. You sit under a tree in China and watch your ass get beat by the cops for being a lazy layabout. You know what I mean? You would have to be a rock star out of the blue for the government over there to be like, oh, hey, we should throw money and resources at him because he's got ideas. But as soon as your ideas failed or you didn't produce fast enough, you're enemy of the state. They're not, I mean, there's a billion people. I don't see how. I mean, they either won't ever fall but yeah, they're going to have to be done in from the inside. They're like America. I think Russia can be toppled from the outside. I think Britain, obviously, can be toppled from the outside. Germany, yeah. France, yeah. But America, yeah, you can invade Canada. You can invade Mexico. And yeah, America's a harder fish to fry, though. I don't think you can invade India either for sort of separate reasons, but it becomes with the amount of people you have or the timber of the people who live there. I think the first thing Americans will do is put aside our differences and wipe out whoever's here. In a land of guns, no less. You're highly educated. Even the stupid people who get bullshit educations in America are smarter than a lot of these other people. And I think we have a bad opinion of ourselves because our leadership tells us, you know, those people are stupid and those people don't work and then it's ruled by division. But this isn't the 1850s. You have the internet. You can, I look up shit all the time. Every show, I look up 10 things at a minimum. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's what you can't do in China. They censor their internet. I mean, yeah, I could say, the only thing I can't say is I think threatening shit about like elected officials, because that's a threat, which makes sense. I can't sit here and go, oh, the president is XYZ without somebody knocking on my fucking door. Where am I? Virginia, where am I? Virginia Secret Service Division. Yeah, we want to ask you some questions about what you said on the internet yesterday. Yeah, fuck that guy. I mean it. Click, click, boom. Don't need to have a gun or have any ammunition or have a fucking plan. You just can't say it, which I kind of agree with. I really do. You can't, because I think if you said that to 100 people, right? Some dumb shit like that. Of those 100 people, you're gonna get at least 2-3 people who internalize it like, yeah, and it becomes their mission. You should be able to just randomly shoot some hateful shit at them. And this is all these dudes on the internet who can hide behind some of the tech that they know. And that's why whenever they get found, I'm like, because it's man, look, if you're going to be a man in the world, I'm talking to the men now. If you're going to be a man in the world, stand by what you say, right? We went through this thing a couple of days ago with the baby and his homosexual thing, and then we launched into about who his fans were and why other groups are trying to tell their fans to cancel him. They're not really telling their fans to do it. They're telling the media who owns the companies and the corporation and his PR people and that they should just, you know, but he's worth a lot of money to them, right? And then he doubled down on it, sort of tripled down on it, right? He was like, I just go back to R&B because fuck y'all. And he's right. You're not buying my albums. I'm not making music for your set. It's good that you like the music I'm making and will buy it, but it's not really for you. You know what I'm saying? And that's important. And everything has to be, everything in the Black community is becoming, we have to approve of the shit that you're doing. Right? And we went into this. I mean, if you guys think I'm anti-gay, go watch that show. I explained it completely and fully to people about what the drama is. And I give you a quick and tiny rundown The drama is this. He's common, everyday American urban person. He's not supposed to be sensitive to your fucking needs. He's covered in tattoos, right? He talks about the subculture of life where a lot of black people live, which is drug dealing and guns and bull. He had nothing to do with you. Now all of a sudden he gets out of that and manages to make money. You want him to be like he graduated from, I don't know, some, what do they used to call those things? Finishing school, right? Like he's a politician, like he's an ambassador. I want to be in charge of what. No, fuck you. Maybe he wouldn't be this person if you stood up when he was 5 and made sure his colleges, his high school and junior high school were better. No, fuck you. You reap what you sow. And I like his music. You know, you have your gay rapper, that Little Nas X guy. You can have him. And by the way, his music is good. No one's hating on his music. Right? No one's hating on his music. It's good music. They both have good music. But now you're trying to make it about a culture that is not, that they're not part of for your own needs. And I've got a dark eye on black. First of all, I have a dark eye on anybody who walks out on us, but I have a darker eye of people who will come back from another group after they joined another group to throw arrows at us. You know what? There should be no black people in America because we should own a lot of our music. And then they would have been nephews and nieces and married to people, and the music would have been spread around in the community, and maybe someone would have started college, but none of that the case because it's all owned by corporations. Do dirty tricks in media and in contracts. So before you come at me with your, I believe XYZ, I will eat your lunch on several topics, all columnating. That's not right. In a grander point, which is watch anybody listen to you and what you want. Right? He's going to make a lot of money. He's a millionaire now. God bless him. I wish I was a millionaire. Would we look him up? 27, 28, right? It's that. And we went over what he said that got him into trouble. That, I mean, the whole idea of what he said about the gays was bad. But he also kind of was like, he said some shit about the mask, and the mask people could come after him. But he also said that thing about ladies, if your pussies are fresh like, if your pussy smells like water. We're like, what does water smell like? And why aren't the feminists upset at that whole ladies, if you're, you know, it's just, it's, there are some people who've got nothing to offer, but they have a political action group. And every time they wait for somebody to say something like that so they can show up and be offended and then raise money on it and get TV time. And yeah, but nothing ever happens but people raise money. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be back in about 30 seconds. I'm going to fill this glass. We are not done. Let's just remember what we spoke about because I will forget. All right. So yeah, that was the babies. I'm gonna have to go through these once a week and amend all the titles so we know what we talked about and when. But you know, what are you gonna do, right? We're all over the place. We talked about going to Andromeda on a spaceship. We talked about the baby and his stuff. But this all fell out of the conversation about freedom, essentially freedom of thought, right? Freedom of sitting around and writing a story about you know what the freedom of expression is, America? That Trey and Parker, that whole Orgasmo movie. I mean, you got to sit down, write down, and have that made. You couldn't get that movie made anywhere in the world, right? So that kind of mindset is just stupid, free thought, free American kind of energy, whether you like it or not. That does not happen in China. And China is sitting here. First of all, we keep taking money from them because I don't want to say we're broke. But man, pay the piper. You got to pay the piper. Peter Pepper may pickles or whatever they say, but you got to pay the piper. Are we cutting this light on? When is sunset? We're obsessed with sunset.
Sunset will be at 7:39 p.m. today.
Wow. That's like 15 minutes. What I need to do. So I've got issues with this show that I'm doing. We're doing it every day for 1,000 days, right? Obviously, we're doing it every day for 1,000 days. Over the last, my last 10 days have been a bad 10 days, and it looks like it's going to be bad for a bit longer. So I haven't been playing the guitar, but I think I'm going to start doing it again because I miss it. Oh, that is not good at all. What is that? So yeah, I think September we're going to do it every day for an hour, and then we're going to do this, and then I will likely stop doing this and game because I got to tell you, I miss gaming. I miss my homie. We used to game nightly, and then life got complicated, and then I started. Well, not then I started doing this, but years later I tried to do this as a distraction from complicated life, and now it's complicated all over again. I'm going to try and fight through the complications and still do this. I always end up talking cop stuff, social justice stuff, global politics. I don't talk money because I don't know money. I wish I did. I don't talk love and romance because I don't know love and romance. I wish I did. I talk politics. I talk social, what's the word I'm looking for? Social philosophies and shit like this. It's not popular, man. It isn't. It's not popular. I wish I could talk about rappers because that's something telling me I would have like 500 people watching me. But I don't. I look what I talk about isn't niche. I happen to think everybody does it, but nobody wants to listen to it. Like if you don't watch the news, I can watch the news and interpret it for you in a real and serious way. If you do watch the news, I can kick it with you and talk about what happened in a real and serious way. What I can't seem to do is do that constantly and not like get heart pains because of it. Oh, that's pretty good. Oh, hey, you know what? Let's get rid of George Washington. 1799. I love history. I also talk history, and I also do a fair amount of not what ifing, but like we just did this with like it's like I prove my points with for instances. Let's say, for instance, bam, I'll give you like a what if scenario. And they were all over the place. Like I just told you one about going to Mars, right? And uh, I think that's just because the world has shifted, right? The people who used to tell you these examples will give you a lot less interesting shit. So I think I don't talk to everybody. I talk to interesting people who can catch the vibe, as we used to say in the hood. Really, New York City is 5 years older than the Pilgrims getting here. That right there is just kind of like, as soon as it took 2 months to get here. The ship who dropped them off went back and was like, "Yo, hold it. First of all, this is the America had been known for like 150 years, right? 1492. They said it was 1620, 1492, 1592, 1620. So that's 120 years about. Is that even right? 1492, 1620. Yeah, it's about 130 years, let's say. But you couldn't get anywhere without like government money. Like the government gave them cash to get to where they were going. I love this picture. Look at these pictures. I just have this idea of all these people like planting a flag like you were taught. I'm pretty sure they didn't. Well, maybe did they plant flags? I don't know. I claim this land in the name of right. Isn't that the old cliche? Um, I did just planting this flag. I just see like 700 Indians just sitting in the bush, like, the fuck are they doing? Oh Lord, we are great. They're like just sitting there going. I always wonder, how do you learn the language of a people? And they're talking about uh, the Vikings were here. They had a small settlement, then they went back. And I get why, right? I think the Vikings landed further up north, and it was just, as cold as Norway, right? Fewer Indians, but they were just kind of like, all the stuff is back home. I just want to go home, right? But these people had a reason. I mean, they were exploring and went home. The Pilgrims had a reason to stay because they were like, we can't go back because these people. Let's look up what they were doing to the Pilgrims. This is why, man. Why I say it all the time. If you have an internet connection, there is no reason in the world to be stupid. You may not have a college degree, you may not have advanced, but if you have a curious mind and an internet connection, there's no reason you don't know shit. From recipes to fucking religion to building stuff. Why did the Pilgrims leave? 35 of the Pilgrims were members of the radical English separatist church who traveled to America to escape the jurisdiction of the Church of England, which they found corrupt. Yeah. Okay. So this sounds like they were Catholics, right? Because the King of England rewrote the Bible. That's why you get the King James Bible. Do I have my timeline right? Because he couldn't divorce his woman? Man, I need new poozle, and the Pope won't let me get none. That right there is just that right there is just, I hate to be rude about it, but man, the things some dudes will do for some nookie. 10 years, but then it's not really the nookie, as a woman once explained to me. It's the power. I can, so I will. And this is my excuse. I will war because my excuse is a woman. I was like, oh, okay, no, that there's some solidity to that. I would rather go down in history having started a war over principles than starting a war over you taking my Helen to, what did they take Helen of Troy? I forgot what they took her. England had led a group of separatists to flee Holland in search of religious freedom. 10 years earlier, English persecution had led groups of separatists to flee to Holland. All right, let's look at this. On September 16, 1620, Mayflower sailed Plymouth and bound for New England. Right, so yeah, it had a name already. They didn't discover the continent. And come on, man. Columbus discovered the place. So what is this? Ugh. Ugh, I did it again. 16. $128 years. What did I say? 130 years? Okay. So, all right. James Average thinking too. All right. Plymouth. Mayflower. The expedition returned to Providence, and some tourists to Mayflower came to anchor. Blah, 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 blah. After coming to anchor in Princeton Harbor. Now, I want to know why they left. In a difficult Atlantic crossing, the 90-foot Mayflower encountered rough seas and storms was blown more than 500 miles, of course. Along the way, settlers formulated and signed a Mayflower Common. Yeah, we need rules. Yeah, an agreement that bound the signatories into a civil body politic. Yeah, versus we all just get here with no rules and then the strongest takes command. One financial backing from a group of investors, right? So they were sent over here sort of as indentured servants, I guess. Yeah, all right. This is not what I wanted. Why did the put? Oh, did we just click on the same thing? No, this is when several power routes propelled them across the Atlantic Ocean to make new lives to live in America. Oh. Religious liberty was not the most pressing concern. It was get out because they had debtors' prison and death. The king was going to kill you, right? So those two things was more powerful than religious freedoms. The Pilgrim Act had really Dutch private order to go to America to seek religious tolerance because they already had it. Really? Oh boy. All right. Well, I can't look. I just hit something interesting. We're just going to stop right there. We're not even going to slide any further. Ooh, it's getting dark in here. Oh. So yeah, in conclusion, the Chinese, the communist Chinese, are still communists. They just run on a not a democratic, capitalist economic system. The world's problems. That's fucking impressive. The world's problems are largely in response to what we set up like hundreds of years ago. Look at this. Hold on. Could you fucking even? Looks like the captain is out here watching. There, where is he? That tiny little him right here. That right there is the faith that America puts in its military people. All these guys took an oath. This is why I don't get why you can't say the Pledge of Allegiance anymore. All these got back to the Pledge of Allegiance. All these guys took an oath, right? To be on watch for us. Then they bust their ass and learned to run this giant piece of shit from all, not just fire guns, but to keep the oil right and then paint it when it needs to be right. They treat it like I treat my car, this thing that I like. They all try. Man, yeah. So yeah, it is a thing. All right. USSR was the retired battleship, the leading ship of her class, and the last leading ship of a class. Yeah. What is this? Hamid Karzai Internet. You named the airport after that corrupt piece of shit. 7.2 magnitude earthquake hits Haiti, kills more than 2,020 people. British forces led by William Howe defeats the Continental Army under George Washington at the Battle of Long Island. Do we want to look up? I love this stuff. I do. Like everyone loves either the Civil War or World War II, and I love this. I love like not the Independence Day, the Revolutionary War, which the British don't call it that. What do the British call them? Right? What do the British call the American Revolution? The War of Independence is called the American War of Independence. Okay, that's okay. I'll buy that. We call it the Revolutionary War or the Independence War, right? I forget. I remember it had more than one name, but what do the British call them? Okay. Often called 13 colonies or colonial America. The 13 British colonies that established during the 17th and early 18th century is what is now part of the Eastern United States. And I said we spoke about this week too, the War of 1812. We spoke about that, the idea that that was Britain's chance 30 years later to take the country back, right? If you could defeat America in the War of 1812, burn down the White House, and capture it, not only do you 30 years later you reclaim this whole country that King George wanted. You get all this stuff that you now know America has that is worth. I would argue with a better system, right? You've been an empire for long, so you can now really push the French and all these other people out of the country. You can march west to the Pacific, and you could I was going to say double your size, but that's not right. Look, if the British won the War of 1812, they would have increased their size and population by 50 times, right? Because by the time the War of 1812, okay, there are no maps. All right, by the war, American map 1812. Yeah, well, look at this one. Yeah, we'll use this one. So look at this. I mean, when they left, it was this, right? Let's flip this so you can see this better. When they left, it was this. If they would have been able to win, they would have taken not just the 13 colonies down to Virginia, which is here. They would have been able to move east toward the Ohio River, Confederation of Sovereign States. I don't even know what that even means. But all this was go west, young man bullshit. Newfoundland, Maine. What is this Confederate Kingdom of Borealia? 1812 closure, location North America, 1850s. Oh, sorry. Kingdom of Borealia. How about this one? Let's go with this map. Yeah, here you go. So what year is this? 1853. See, I'm sorry. Now I'm just super curious. Because I remember the map not looking like that. Aurora Borealis. The War of 1812. All right, here's a good War of 1812 map. Be bigger than I expect you to be. Here you go. Oh, come on. Come on. Why do people not make larger? Well, depending on how old the military, 1812. Ah, there you go. All right. Ugh. That's cool. So look, if they had won, other than the Spanish colony in Florida, they would have taken all of this, right? Priming them. These are territories, right? Priming them to just move. I mean, good lord, it would have been the most. It was totally worth fighting if I was the British, but they didn't win. But I mean, Oregon, all this is known. This when they lost it 30 years earlier, no one knew about much of this. They hadn't gotten this far. But yeah, if the British were able to win, Britain is about as big as, let's look up how big Britain is to America. Please don't have fat people on this because that's exactly what they're gonna do. What happened? That not work? Uh, is that even right? British country. What did I? Oh, compare it. Compatriate it. Well, let's look up an image. Yeah, there you go. Even better one. I want both of these because one of these is compared to the this is good too because one of these is compared to the original colonies. So look at this. This is first of all, this is who they were fighting in the original one, right? Down to Virginia and up to Maine, right? So this area, not Pennsylvania was mostly forest, but it was essentially the coastals, right? So what state is this? South Carolina. This is Atlanta. This is Mississippi. So this is Georgia. South Carolina, sorry, North Carolina. Over here, you got District of Columbia, right? Maryland. You got Jersey. This Pennsylvania was mostly forest, a little Pennsylvania. Long Island, part of New York, mostly woods, right? You got Connecticut, Rhode Island. You got all this stuff. Look how big they were. Even the 13 colonies was bigger than Britain, right? Belfast, Glasgow, Manchester, London, Cardiff. And this is it to the whole country. If they would have won in 1812, they would have. Yeah, it was totally worth the fight. It was totally worth the fight. All right. Oh. One of the Marines' father said a group of Marines came to his house and told him his son had been killed. They were more distraught than me. Yeah, those guys were just about to get out of there. It really is just it. What is this? We're down at this is a video. I like the map though. Virginia, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, Georgia, right. Pennsylvania, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, New Brunswick, Confederacy, the War of 1812 every day. Missouri Territory, Choctaw. All right. Yeah. It would have. I might have to watch this later. Let's close this. Let's close this. Oh my God. I mean, there's so much stuff that is uninteresting. The Guilty Mother is the third play of the Figaro tragedy by Pierre Beaumarchais. Beaumarchais, following the Barber of Seville and the Marriage of Figaro. Like its professor, it has been turned into operatic form, but unlike them, has failed to enter the general opera repertoire. The 1876 illustration of Emile Billard shown one of the main characters, Irish Bigarse, a major in the Spanish military and a great schemer and stirrer up of trouble. Huh. 2 out of 3, I guess. The American sitcom The Office revealed numerous accolades. I've received numerous accolades during this run. You know, I've never seen one episode of it. I've also never seen one episode of what's that show where they work in an office? Not well, I've never seen The Office either. But the Pawnee show, I think the town is Pawnee. Meanwhile, I saw like every episode of Community twice. So I think I've seen 3 episodes of maybe I've catch me reruns, but on network TV, 3 episodes of the show with the kid genius. Okay. Uh Big Bang Theory. Some stuff to sometimes we're running up. Sometimes the popular stuff is popular and I like it. Sometimes popular stuff is garbage and I can't even wrap my head around it. Uh yeah, I don't know why that. I saw a lot, when Friends ran, I saw all of those, right? Maybe I'm too enlightened. Do you hear these? All that those are cicadas. I mean, they're still coming up. They better hurry up. I mean, we've got shells and stuff around here because man, everything eats them. I gotta tell you, I love the country life. I do. City life is not worth it. I do miss the girls though. There's something about city girls. I think it's because they're girls in the city. I think They run a faster schedule. And as I age here, slowing down as I am, I can deal with chicks. I'm sorry. I can deal with ladies with slower schedules. But also, I don't want to go to the clubs anymore. I'm not doing that, right? And the young people do that, which is nice. So what do I want as an elder? Am I an elder statesman in the hip hop community yet? As an elder statesman in the hip hop community, I guess I kind of want to be left alone. I want to be left to chill, and I want to watch the young kids do it. Almost like I'm sitting on the porch looking at a giant lawn and watching people do stuff. And I sit here with my mint julep or my tea or my whatever, and I go, talk to my homie. Remember those days? Oh yeah, those were the days. And I should be able to complain about some stuff. This thing is still burning. Not all stuff, because times change and each generation should be different than the generation that preceded it. But I don't want to be so lost as to be like, what the fuck? And I feel like that's where I'm at now. I'm like, every song is about the clubs, and twerking is not. But then again, you know what? I remember as a young person dancing close to women, and older people going, "What? No." And you don't realize that they were born in like the 30s and the 40s, and now they're trying to be super religious, and they're against all of that. All these young people now, I shit you not, let them run as they're going to run. But when they're 40, right, they're going to be looking at whatever the 20-year-olds are doing and going, no, maybe not 40, but let's say 50. Or if they have kids, right? And we said this before too. I've known women who were wild women. Then all of a sudden they get married and they have kids, and all of a sudden I think it's paranoia of what their daughters might do, right? It's that. Same thing with fathers, right? I see it less with boys. Parents are super forgiving with boys, but they're super not with their daughters, which I get. Daughters, second career. Have I thought about a second career as a teacher? Are you kidding? I'm not ever trying to go back to school. I mean, I like to talk to people. I like to talk about the issues of the day. I'm going to try and figure out September, October, November, December. I'm going to try and figure out by this time next month how to get like a call-in on this thing. Then people can call and I can talk to people. But, teaching would be, here's the thing about teaching. Teaching is hard. A lot of people who want to be teachers shouldn't be teachers. It's just like police work. Police work is hard. A lot of people who just want to be cops shouldn't be. And you give people psychological that you don't pay any attention to. These people mold people's, right? I don't want to be able to, because I have some wild ideas. I have tarot cards in my house, right? So if I sit and tell your kid, they go, Mr. So-and-so, do you believe in ghosts? And I go, yeah, I believe in ghosts. All of a sudden, some parents are going to be mad at that. If I go, nah, ghosts are ridiculous. All of a sudden, other parents are going to be mad at that. So teaching is not. And college, can you imagine if someone's like, I like the way you view the world. We're going to give you a class on philosophy. The people who spent 20 years getting a philosophy degree are going to be pissed off. The people who just got there, are going to be pissed off. You're always a man out. If I joined the military tomorrow because the president said, wow, I really like your show, and you always wanted to be in the military, I'm gonna raise your hand. It's congratulations, you're in the military now. And I'm gonna, I think I looked it up. I don't think you can just give anybody any kind of rank. Like it's the olden days of like the Civil War, right? Some rich guy just shows up as a colonel, gets everybody killed, right? So he can induct me in, maybe I think he can make me an officer, but then I have to learn how to be a military person, right? If he did that at whatever rank he gave me it, I think the only rank where people would be like, oh man, that's cool, would be like the low private guys who walked into a recruiter, right? If he made me like a private, I think the lowest one is, they would be like, oh man, that's cool. You met the president. He did this thing. But if he was like, yeah, you're a general, all the other generals be like, I've been in this fucking army for 40. Well, they don't curse. I've been in this army for you. This is absolutely affront to, and they would take it personally. And I think they'd be right to, right? They did it for. Did they do that for Hunter Biden? I know you can get promoted because famously W's military information got burnt up in a fire because his ex cohorts were like, he never showed up to drill training. He was supposed to be in my book. We were like, who is this guy? We never met him. And then we saw him on the promotion list. Meanwhile, his father was like a congressman, and his father was the head of the CIA. And then his father was president. Yeah, so you better watch the people who run the place and how they got there. Let's look up Hunter Biden. Is it Hunter Biden? Hunter? That's the only. First of all, can we just acknowledge how ball and ass the name Hunter is? I have a thing for what are we gonna call them? Elemental names, like River. I have a thing for ladies named after flowers: Heather, Rose, Daisy. I just think it's cool. Like Rock, you can name your kid Rock and Rock Hudson. I just think it's kind of like what the names were before religion took over, right? Like the Indians have these names compounded, like Running Bear. That's the cliche, right? But if they just had one name, like Running River and all this, but if they had one name, it would be like, maybe there'd be a couple of muds, like Cloud. Now, McCloud is not interesting, but let's see, Hunter, Ranger, some cool ass names like that. Ladies named Harmony. He's a mess. He reminds me of 93 to 2007. Children. He's got a son named Navy Joan Roberts. I'm not Navy, like maybe a daughter named that. Finnegan, Maisie, and Naomi. Okay, so the first two you got ridiculous with Navy, Joan, and Finnegan. But after that, it was just the typical, named after his brother. Oh boy. Anyway, watch. He's going to clean up his act and then get into politics in 10 years and be president. And you're going to be like, what? Because the people who run the place are these people. Absolutely immoral. And hey, he's got name recognition. How one unvaccinated to spread. Yeah. That's the thing, like, right? I mean, they can join the military, and then they're sort of protected. Naval career. Biden's application for position in U.S. Navy Reserve was approved May 2000 at the age of 43. Biden was selected as part of a program that allowed a limited number of applicants with desirable skills to receive commissions and serve in staff positions. Biden leaves an age-related waiver. He leaves an age-related waiver. They give you age-related waivers. I didn't know that. And a waiver due to past drug-related incidents. He got 2 waivers. A direct commission is a United States uniformed officer. Oh boy. Sorry about that. Uniformed officer. Do we want to make this bigger for everybody? Dude, why don't you have me look this up? Direct commission. That's all right. Is a United States uniformed officer who has received an appointed commission without the typical prerequisites for achieving a commission, such as attending a 4-year service academy or 4-year. All right. Okay. So I guess the president going, you're the man, or right. If that would be a direct commission. 4-year or 2-year college or ROTC program. Wow. Right. Okay. So they still have it. But it's a commission. It's not like, well, a commission, the lowest commission is a lieutenant. So you become a lieutenant, which is sort of a fucking huge thing. Joe Biden administered his commissioning oath in the White House ceremony. Oh man, nothing said nepotism like that. The following month, Biden tested positive for cocaine. Oh my God. Oh my God. The opportunity. Oh my God. These people, they shouldn't be in charge of anything. Oh. Wow. The following month, Biden tested positive for cocaine during a urinalysis test and was subsequently discharged administratively versus dishonorably discharged. A military discharge is given when a member of the armed forces is released from their obligation to serve. Each country will have different types of discharges. They are generally based on whether the person completed their training and then fully and satisfactorily. Okay, all right. Administrative discharge. Biden attributed the result to smoking cigarettes he had accepted from other smokers, claimed that cigarettes were laced with cocaine. He chose not to appeal the matter as it was unlikely that the panel would believe his explanation given his history with drugs and also due to the likelihood of news leaking to the press. It was ultimately released to the Wall Street Journal by a Navy official who provided the information. He released a memoir. This addiction struggles titled Beautiful Things. The New York Times described the book as equal parts family saga, grief narrative, and addictions, addicts howl. Wow, outrageous. He was an ensign. All right. The United States, the rank of ensign and cornets were abolished in the United States Army in the Army Organization Act of 1815. So there's no ensigns in the Army or cornets. What the hell is a cornet? Cornet was the lowest grade of commissioned officer in the British cavalry troop. The modern being a second lieutenant. Their rank was abolished by the eight by a rank was abolished by 1871 Caldwell Reform, which replaced it with sub lieutenant. All right, so they both changed it. In the United States Navy, the rank of ensign supersedes past midshipman. A past midshipman, sometimes called a midshipman pass, is a term used historically in the 19th century to describe a midshipman who had passed the lieutenant's exam and was eligible for promotion to lieutenant as soon as there was a vacancy. All right. Okay. Um, Ensign is the junior commissioned officer rank in the United States. It's an officer. United States Navy, United States Coast Guard, United States Public Health Service, another armed force that nobody ever thinks about, and the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration Commissioned Officers Corps. The rank is used in the U.S. Maritime Services and the U.S. Naval Sea Cadet Corps. Ensign ranks below lieutenant junior grade. Lieutenant junior grade, or historically Lieutenant JG, sorry, is a junior commissioned officer rank of the United States Navy, United States Coast Guard, United States Public Health. We just read that. And it's equal to the second lieutenant. Second lieutenant is a junior commissioned officer military rank in many armed forces. Right. So the junior ranks are second lieutenant, lieutenant, right, and then the middle is captain, major, colonel. And then the seniors are all generals, if I remember this. Yeah, tell me about it. I'd have fixed my shit if I knew I could get in at 43. Fucking cocaine. He's ridiculous. Let's look up junior grades because I mean, one, we should know this sort of stuff, but junior grade rank, right? Because I'm pretty sure lieutenant junior grade is 17th rank. No. Did I look up the wrong thing? Commission officer, restricted following term. Okay, when newly commissioned ensigns is assigned in the Navy, it's dependent on the status as either restricted line, or stat. Yeah, okay, this is getting into the weeds. What were we looking at? Is a junior? Okay, there you go. Not junior grade, junior commission. This is what we're looking for. You want to know what junior commissioned is? Junior commissioned officer. Junior commissioned officer is a term for a group of military personnel which is higher than the halberdier rank. Okay, fine, and lower than lieutenant. Bangladesh, India, Pakistan. What are you talking about? Gurkha. It's used. It was just you. We just read it. British Navy, Air Force, honorary commissions, honorary lieutenant. Indian. Why is this about India though? Why is this about India? Junior officer. All right. Junior officer, company officer, or company grade refers to the lowest operational commission officer in a military or paramilitary organization. The term company officer or command grade officer are used more in the Army, Air Force, Marine Corps as the rank of captain, lieutenant grades, and other subaltern ranks originated from officers in command. All right, so you have to. Okay, that makes sense, right? So junior grade, but a sergeant is not an officer. A sergeant is the highest enlisted, right? So lieutenants, captains, and I want to say majors. Aren't majors above captains? Enlisted rank, non-commissioned officers, right? Field officer, general lieutenant, subaltern, warrant officer. Look at all the ranks over here. Field marshal. All right, so which one are we going to look at? Flight cadet, officer, midshipman. This is the Navy. Second lieutenant. This is the Army. Cadet, junior lieutenant, second lieutenant, lieutenant, first lieutenant. Okay, and then captain. So captain, lieutenant. So there are two lieutenants, three lieutenants actually. There's a lieutenant. Oh, good lord, I'm all over the place. There's two lieutenants. There's the first lieutenant or lieutenant or second lieutenant or junior lieutenant, right? So you have a cadet, private gunner. Yeah, this doesn't make any sense. So your cadets train like in these military academies to become, they graduate as lieutenants. All right, so that's lieutenant is the lowest of the officer's rank. Second lieutenant, so maybe it's captain, right? After that, you get majors, lieutenants, colonels, and colonels as the mid officers, and then you get the generals, the brigadiers, the 1 star, 2 star, 3 star. I mean, I don't know. We should know this as American citizens, I guess, but we're too busy watching who's dating who on this or that like reality show. Oh man! All right. Well, we've been streaming for an hour and a half. This is the truest thing you said, man. That is so right. That is outrageous. Me reading that story, I was just like, why would you? Why would you blow the up because you're a drug addict? I guess. Well, yeah. See, Joe Biden. What are you going to do about that? Uh, he doesn't get elected again. I'm pretty sure of it. After this debacle, I'm pretty sure he does not get elected again. Um, the question is, his vice president has super low ratings. I don't know, man. Maybe he'll turn it around. He's still got 3 years, three and a half years. We'll see what happens. All right. I will be back tomorrow. Tomorrow is Saturday. Okay, excellent. Enjoy your Friday. Go out there, get some Fridayness, whatever that entails. Have a sip of something. I'm gonna try and play. Like and subscribe, please. It's super important that you do. If you choose to. Um, I'm gonna hop over to my Twitch account. Thank you, man. You have a good night too. I'm gonna hop over to my Twitch account and see what interesting nonsense I can get into. Uh, like me on Twitch at Karma Armor, and like me on YouTube at True S Armor, and I'll see some of you shortly. But man, you should have a really you should demand that the people in charge fix some of this, maybe other stuff, but some of the stuff. Uh, that way they will have to feel like, oh man, if we don't fix this, everybody wants us to fix something. Randy Horton, isn't that a wrestler's name? Who's Randy Horton? That's another thing I never got into. I mean, I used to like wrestling when I was really young, and then it got like WWF wrestling kind of, and I was just kind of yeah, Randy Horton is a wrestler. Wait, there's two pictures. Oh wait, hold on. He's 76. Wait, this guy's a soccer player. Which Randy Horton are you talking about? Because there's also one who's a wrestler. Okay, there's Randy Orton is a wrestler, and Randy Horton is a soccer player. Did he do some fantastic thing? Rookie of the year, New York Cosmos 71. New York has had a soccer team that long. All right, good job. All right, I don't know. He seemed to be doing all right. I don't know why why we're looking him up. Um, I think I am gonna play. I might play some Baldur's Gate. Oh, really? Hold on. We might not be done. All right, so hold on. Randy W. Horton is what you're saying. Oh, he's got a YouTube channel. Is he in the news? No. Okay. Nope. All right, as long as he's safe. Yeah. It's nice to be popular. They will come to you with buckets of money. But then after you get all the buckets, how much money is enough? I mean, think about this. I mean, I'm sure it would be great to be a millionaire. But after you were super comfortable with everything you wanted, when is the money enough? Right? It used to be first get the money, right? Because if you get famous, you get the money. First, then you get the money. Then you can work on your dream. It seems like people don't have dreams anymore. They're just chasing money. I got to be a trillionaire. I got to be a billionaire. What's the dream? All these singers who sell you lipstick, right? I mean, after you got rich, then you can do what? Make more money? Oh, like open a restaurant, maybe shows you can cook. Open an art gallery, shows you have other interests. Write well, first of all, everybody writes children's books. Some of these people are not even worthy. Yeah, I don't know, man. Um, yes. Do we want to close it? We don't want to close that. Yeah, we'll do this. So yes, please, everyone, Enjoy the rest of your. What is this? Oh, I thought I said artillery. Oh man. Oh, here we go. So sorry about that. uh so please enjoy the rest of your weekend. Go out with a mask, go to the beach, take your mask off, breathe deep of the fresh, clean air. As long as no one's is within 20 feet of you, you're fine. That's a joke. Um, have a good night, guys. Have a good weekend. If even if I don't see you, if you don't tune in tomorrow and Sunday, because we're here every day. Sunday 7 a.m., Monday through Saturday 6:30 p.m. Like and subscribe and come back and see us again. But remember, if you don't, try and do some good thing for yourself this weekend. The world is at you. It's trying to just make you antsy and agity so they can put you on Zoloft or whatever. Um, don't don't fall for it. Read a book, smoke a J, have a whiskey, go out dancing. Can you go out dancing anymore? Dance in your living room. Turn the lights down. Get the candles up. Get your best girlfriend, boyfriend. Cook dinner. Become social again. Become part of a community, because community is not on TV or on these internets. And I want you to like and subscribe, right? But I would rather you sit with your homies. I remember back a million years ago, people who I've long since lost contact with, threw this great dinner party. It was like a 5 course meal that she cooked everything. It was like Thanksgiving when you didn't have to have Thanksgiving. And I had never been to a giant like dinner party like this. It was an experience for me as someone having not associated himself with these kind of things. But the conversations and all the good stuff. It was a time. You got to talk to people other than um people that you're around all the time, right? I mean, you have other friends. You get them on the phone. I don't know. Just don't 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 give in to the nothing's ever going to change. I might as well just sit here and watch Hulu or Netflix or Apple or whatever. Those are fun, but make sure you get it's your weekend. You know what I'm saying? You should use it for. Do we want to polish? Okay, we're gonna wrap this up in 15 minutes. You should use your weekend to get back at your work life. You know what I mean? That isn't sitting home going, ugh, I'm glad it's the weekend. I'm just not going to do anything. It's like as hard as you work for someone else on your weekdays, you should do at least some of that on your weekends for you. That might be starting an Etsy store, right? That might be reworking on music or stories or your novel that you didn't. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I can't tell you. People go, I don't have time. I don't have time. I don't have time. I go, all right. If you say you can't do it, you can't do it. But people aren't even trying anymore. And I think that if cats tried a little bit, their life would improve significantly, and then they would try it more, and then their life would improve greatly, right? Some people do it so much that they go, I think I'm going to leave my job because I'm doing this and I'm making money at it, right? And exactly. And don't get me wrong, we're in a pandemic, right? We don't want you to to be going out like risking yourself with randos who may not be wearing masks but that's the sense of it, right? Um, Other than the people in your house, like I see close family a lot, and I love seeing them. Um, but that's what I mean, right? So don't the society. I'm telling you, man, it seems like the society wants you to be miserable, and then you go to see somebody about you're not able to sleep, and we all manifest these weird little mental things weirdly. Some people get sore throats, some people get twitches, right? Some people's stomach always hurts, some people aren't hungry because we're not all the same animal, and someone will always offer you drugs. Well, you know what? I think you need to see Bob, and Bob will give you Zoloft and some of this, and then some of that will help you sleep, and then before you know it, you know, you're doing more pills than necessary, more chemicals than necessary. It's just my opinion, but I really do believe that if people just walked more, ran more, jogged more, got out their anger more, not loose anger, just hating everything, but some people just swallow stuff, right? And then yell at the wrong people. It's called displacement. But and you can't yell at your boss and keep your job. I get that. But if you're not going to yell at anybody, then you have to compartmentalize it better and get rid of it another way. And that's not yelling at your wife or your kids or your husband or your dog or whatever. Just kind of going, oh, these people make me crazy, but I got to do it to keep the lights on. So in order to get around that, I'm going to jog or box or, and then maybe your mind is always popping. I'll write this story. And it's that versus maybe I just need to shut my mind down and sitting in front of Hulu or whatever. And that's actually the worst thing for you. You don't want to shut your mind down to deal with it. You want to have your mind better compartmentalize and then get rid of it. You feel that? That's what we're saying, right? The answer is not in pills or bottles, and the answer is not in bottles exactly. But I also hold that we, the human animal, has always been like ones who would find the weed to smoke or the mushroom to eat. You're right, and I'm uncomfortable way to get rid of that stress. All right, so an uncomfortable way to get rid of that stress is to help someone else. That's true too. That's true too. But my only thing about that, I would say help the right people, right? Um, who do you help? Maybe I'm a little cynical. It's like I had this conversation with my dad about giving money to homeless people, and he was like, "Why would you give money to a drug addict who's just going to use it to buy drugs?" And I was like, "That's not my concern, right? I I'm once I give it, my job is over. It's my the the compassion is in the giving, not in the giving and then judging, right? Like I used to have this friend in New York who was like, I'm not gonna give you money because how much you can drink, but you can come with me to the deli and I'll buy you a sandwich. And I was like, that's not helping, right? I mean, so it's hard. It's hard. So then what you do is you become a better judger of who you give money to, right? And now you see all these people. I'm homeless and I've got a placard. Give me a buck. I don't know if you're going to use it for drugs or alcohol, but I do know that there's a pandemic and people are out of work. So I can't give to everybody, but I'll give you $2 here and $2 there. And it's in the giving, right? Once I give it, uh, I do my part with my connection to compassion versus I give it and I want to know what you're using it for and when you're going to use it. And you know what I'm saying? It's that. Yeah, you should absolutely help people you know mostly. I like this. We're gonna like this. We're gonna put this up. But yeah, so I mean, my whole thing is you should want to be helpful if you're help. I'm sort of a helpful kind of guy. I like people. Um, so if you're gonna be helpful, don't be helpful and then be judgmental directly after, right? If you go, I think he's gonna use it for drugs, that's honest. Then don't give him money. You know what I mean? And I used to be really mad at my friend. I'd come with me to the bodega. I'm like, you're going from one place to another place with a stranger. What is wrong with you? Over a sandwich. I just have to really lecture them and like yell at them, like, don't you see how dangerous that is? And a lot of them were like, yeah, I never thought of it like that. Yeah, knucklehead, what are you thinking? Give them a buck or don't, but don't walk away with them someplace. Oh my gosh. But if I can, I give a home for $5. Yeah, man, I hate to say it. I'm still a product of my youth, right? So giving someone $1 to me is a lot of money. And then I realized no one can get a little bit for $1, even if it's home. So now I give $2 now. So like if I have $2, I give it to him. I usually have whatever change I will give him. But I'm realizing that that's not that, and you know what I mean? It's not. So now I'm like, well, how much money am I going to have on me to give? I'm giving the homeless people like solid. cash because I can't give them the change I have in my pocket anymore. Ugh. Yeah, yeah, I do it occasionally, and very occasionally I'll give like a large bill when, especially because sometimes, like I saw these kids, they were raising money for their football league, and I knew that was bullshit. But I pulled over and like I gave them both, like not both, but like they were like eight of them on the side of a, and two of them were working together, and I gave them like $20. And I was like, man, they're not going to use for any college. They were like 12-year-olds, but it was their hustle. I'm pretty sure they went and bought whatever with it, and that's fine. But like when the feeling hits me, I don't go, they're full of shit, and they just keep driving. But I try and err on the side of, I hope it works out, because the man, all I have is at this stage is hope. Quite frankly, all I have is hope. Yeah, you give what you can, and you give it freely. You don't go, well, I can't really afford to be giving you this, but I'm gonna give you this, and you should be, man, no, just give it a shut up, right? It's that. So people are, but we're from a society where people are really judgmental about shit. We went through this earlier. The idea that people feel the natural need to be able to get in other people's lives. Excuse me. Get in other people's lives because that's the way the West works, right? But even as it does that, it's nowhere near as bad as how China gets into your life. I guess your country and your fellow countrymen are it's just going to be a thing that they do. They get in. Am I too loud? They get in. I'm trying to read this vibe thing. Wow. All right. So no. You good, girl. Uh, I actually missed you. I yesterday I was thinking about the handful of people who come through regularly that I haven't seen, and I was like, I wish them well. But I know I have to professionalize up my deal in talking to people. So I was thinking about getting one of those Dr. Johnny Fever leather jackets. Does anybody remember who Dr. Johnny Fever was? Uh, uh, he was a very famous kind of archetype from a 70s sitcom. Yes, WKRP, right? So he was supposed to be this like burnout weed smoker DJ who didn't want to be doing it anymore. That's look there in my youth there were I was supposed to be shutting this thing down. In my youth, there are several things that I super love. One was soap. I was instantly taken by how smart it was, even as a little kid. I wasn't that old. I must have been like 10. Um, and like the the Christy people got it pulled off the air. Um, this is why you shouldn't give in to like these religious groups. So I love that. I love WKRP in Cincinnati. Um, and then there was another one way back in the 70s that was really good too. That was a comedy, but I forget it now. But it's like I remember those two out of that whole decade the most. Not Archie Bunker or any of the series, not just kind of like they were zany and goofy, and sometimes they had politics, but mostly they didn't. They were just yeah, exactly. Billy Crystal's first starring role as the first homosexual on television, quite frankly. Um, and the opening theme song, do 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 do, and it was based on morning soap operas. And then 20 years later, not Oprah, Whoopi Goldberg, and what is her name? The Flying Nun. And it'll come to me. It'll come to me. Ah, I lost it. I try and get it in Jeopardy time. Sally Field. Oh, see, I don't remember Mary Hartman, but I'm familiar with it. I used to be like and another thing I was in this stupid life of mine was a film student for a minute. I just love films. But then I realized no one's going to give me quadrillions of dollars to make. I can make a film right now. I can write you a script in a weekend and then shoot it in 2 weeks, and we'd all go, "Huh, that was interesting." I don't know if the film or the shooting was the weird thing, but yeah, it's. I think we're about the same age. I may be 10 years older than you, but yeah, it's look. We talked about TV too, right? It's the idea how the Western was a thing, and then bam, cop movies was a thing, right? It went from Wagon Train to like Beretta. And the new thing was Star Trek. It wasn't either one of those, right? It was a sci-fi show, very much like Doctor Who, but sci-fi hadn't hit in America. There were sci-fi movies here and that kind of thing, but Star Trek was the first. Oh wait, this is not a Western. This not a. This is not. What was some of those color? I remember they all had the same kind of opening. There was a cowboy hat cop. Then there was Columbo. There was a guy in a wheelchair. They were all. There was Ephraim Zimbalist. He had a show. They were all like these cop shows. There was a right. So, but Star Trek was different in 1970, and that's why I think is why it got popular. But then it was cop shows, and now it seems like cop shows are sort of dying, and now you have superhero movies. Cop shows existed alongside, well, not really alongside, but next to comedies forever. But westerns had been around since like movies started, right? And so how long will cop movies be around? I mean, Law and Order took a hit when all these people started getting killed. I was one of the first people saying some of those Law and Order movies showed some like 20 years ago. You got cops throwing people up against the wall and slamming people's head into the table, right? And then all of a sudden you're like, where's all the violence coming from? And now Law and Order people are like, oh, right? So if you don't notice, they changed how the lead cop, who was super violent in the beginning, 10 years, just became a family guy that you loved like years later, and now he doesn't hit anybody. But it's it's already out there. Yeah. Good to see you. I hope you're good. I hope you're well. Wow, we almost went down a rabbit hole. Woo! You almost went down a rabbit hole of 1970s movies, which is good because yesterday we talked about 1970s music. So, all right. So, wow, 8:30, 2 hours, guys. I want you to have a good weekend. I want you to take care of yourself. I want you to take care of your family. And if you've got pets, please, I'm a pet guy. Take care of your pets. It's your weekend. Enjoy it. Strut around naked if you want. It's your house. Turn the air conditioner up, turn it down, go to the beach. Be interesting, man. Don't. I just don't. I want you to take off the malaise like it's a coat when you get to be in your own environment. It's good for you. Aw. All right, everyone. I got love for you, even though I don't know you personally. I do. I got love for you, and I wish you well because wishing you well does my heart good, but it also likely ensures that you're out there in the world doing good shit, and I don't got to worry about you. So it's also self-preservation. See, smart. You are a consequential human being, right? I know it's tough out there for all of us, but we're a social animal. Maybe you can find people of your stripe, of your ilk, and get to the next level together as a small, army or a cool duo or trio or whatever. But just don't give up. And I will see you here tomorrow, 6:30. Hopefully you'll spend some of your weekend with me. Peace out, guys. Thank you, Lady B, for coming through. Thank you, William, for coming through. I will see all of you tomorrow. Peace out.